Hi, my name is Madeline. I will be teaching a yoga flow today. It is sort of a follow the yogi style with minimal instruction and cueing. I will offer variations or modifications, so please feel free to take whatever poses are accessible in your body, and if they aren't, then you can always pull back and know that child's pose is always available should you need it. So let's get started in a wide leg child's pose, opening up the knees wide about the width of the mat. Bring the big toes towards each other. Start to extend the arms forward until your forehead touches here. As you deepen into this child's pose, start to connect to your breath. So bringing some attention to the breath, deepening your inhales and lengthening your exhales. Maybe a couple vocal exhales through your mouth before you start to tune into that ujjayi breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. So maintaining this active and mindful breathing throughout the entire practice. Starting to bring your awareness to the four corners of your mat, and then turning inward. Just noticing how you are feeling right now, and sort of what's going on, and honoring that in your practice. So knowing that you have control of the intensity dial, should you need to work a little more restorative, gentler practice, turning it down, or working a more powerful flow and turning that intensity dial up. And start to make this pose a little more active, lifting up through the forearms, the elbows, maybe tenting the fingers and feeling a stretch through the side body, the intercostals, the muscles between the ribs. Then picking up your torso and walking your hands over to the right here, pressing through the left hand palm and pulling back through the left hip, feeling a stretch and opening through the side body here. And at your own pace, walking back through center and off your mat over to the left now, feeling that same stretch through the right side body here. And coming back through center here in child's pose, taking a moment here, maybe setting your intention for your practice. So the intention's not to be confused with the goal, but the intention is the why. It adds purpose and meaning behind the practice, behind the asanas and the poses. So it doesn't just become about the physicality aspect, but that feeling, that emotion. So what is it that you want to cultivate or manifest into your life right now? And then coming up to tabletop on your hands and knees here, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, tuck the toes, and begin to move through your cat-cows. Take an inhale, drop the belly, roll the shoulders back, lift the eye gaze up. And then exhale, press away, draw your belly button to your spine, press up between the shoulder blades. And again, inhale, finding your cow. And exhale into your cat. Continue with your cat-cows. Find the rhythm that matches your breath here. Feeling that expansion as you press the front body into the back side body, taking the cat. And then either stick with your cat-cows or transition into dancing lion. So just free organic movement, circling through the hips or coming forward or back, side to side. There is no right or wrong. You're just trying to work through any little stickiness or tension you might be feeling throughout the body, in the hips, the shoulders, the knees, the ankles, the wrists, or the neck. Come back to tabletop, stretching through the wrists, dial the fingers to face in towards you here. So it feels okay, maybe some cat-cows here. Stretching through the wrists, the forearms, the fingers, and then counter that. Tops of the hands come onto the mat, slowly start to straighten the arms any amount here. And then maybe wiggling the fingers or making fists and open and close here. Bring the hands forward, knees together to touch, tuck all 10 toes and sit back onto your heels for a toe stretch here. Shake out the wrists, interlace the fingers to the webbing, reach forward, take a big inhale here. Exhale, round and curl, draw your belly button to your spine. Take that deep C curve, then stack the spine up, biceps by the ears, take an inhale here. Exhale, reach up and over to the right. Come back center here, and up and over to the left. Come back center, bend the elbows, place your hands right at the base of your skull and the nape of the neck here. Draw the elbows back, taking a supported back bend, lift the chest, the heart, draw the shoulder blades together, allow the head to fall back into the hands here. Start to feel right there between the shoulder blades and the upper back and that upper thoracic, starting to wake up and fire up here. Keep that connection with the breath. And release, come forward, pat out the tops of the feet here, maybe circle through the ankles. Extend your right arm forward, eye the needle flow, big circles, dragging the arm back down, up and around. Taking the hips with you. Inhale at the top, exhale at the bottom. And reverse the direction whenever you're ready. On the next go around, pause at the top, take a big inhale. Start to reach that right arm back. As you exhale, find that twist here, threading your needle, maybe drawing the hips forward so the hips are over the knees or in front. Your left hand can stay where it is. Maybe it reaches forward, or maybe it reaches up and you're working towards your half bind, reaching around and grabbing a hold of something, your pants, your shirt, your side, working your way to the back of the shoulder and the back of the skull being on the mat. If you're going for that balance challenge, extending your left leg back, reaching up, flex the foot, inner spiral through that upper thigh bone, and really hug the leg in towards the midline here. Spread through the toes and reach back through your heel here. And then slowly start to release here, unwind, press your left hand to the mat, extend the right arm back up, a reset. Same thing, other side. Left arm reaches forward, big circles, back down, up and around right here. Inhaling at the top, exhale at the bottom here. And when you're ready, reverse. Warming up through the shoulder joint here and getting that synovial fluid moving to lubricate through the joint here. On the next go around, pause at the top, take a big inhale, reach back, start to spin open the rib cage here. And then exhale, threading the needle. Coming down again, creating a little more space so that you can deepen into that twist, working your way to the back of the shoulder, the back of the skull being on the mat. And then taking any of those arm variations or leg variations you did on the first side, create that sense of balance in the body. If you're going for that balance, extend the right leg back, lifting up, flexing the foot, find that strong parallel, spreading through the toes. And slowly start to release. Press your right hand to the mat. Extend the left arm back up. Reset right here. And taking a balancing tabletop, extend your right arm back forward and your left leg back here. Flex the foot. Reach back. Take an inhale. Look past the fingers. Exhale. Round and curl. Core cultivation. Knee to elbow. Inhale, reach. Exhale, draw it in a little closer. Last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hug it in. Take the hand, place it on the shin. Maybe you're getting a little tighter, a little smaller here. Reach and stretch back away. Take your right hand, place it underneath your shoulder. Spin your right foot off the mat and open up to find a knee down half moon. So the wrists of the knee are in that same alignment. Flex the foot, glance back, and be sure that the leg is in your peripheral vision. Reach up here. And then taking a yogi's choice, you can stay right where you are, or maybe start to bend that top arm, bend the knee like you're doing a hamstring curl, reaching back, feel that connection here and that strengthening through the back body, and maybe working towards the bind here without losing that containment. Pressing the foot back in the hands. So in order to open up the front side body, we got to contract and deepen through the back side. Lengthen back out, reach the arm back up here, and then slowly start to lower your left foot all the way down onto the mat here. Like you're taking a warrior two with the knee down. Ground the outer edge of the foot, and then reach your bicep to your ear. Holding here for a few breaths and a knee down, side plank right here. You can stay where you are. If you have any other variations in Visvamishtrasana, maybe you want to just lift that bottom leg up. Maybe you want to reach it forward, or maybe working towards the bind. Couple options to play with. And then take it back to tabletop. right here, maybe some cat-cows or dancing lions. Before moving to the other side, let's take puppy pose or down cat. Start to reach the arms forward here. Keep sliding forward until your chin touches. So looking forward, opening up through the throat here. So you might need to keep sliding forward until the chin touches. Don't worry if the chest doesn't, it will eventually get there. Take a couple breaths here, feeling that contraction between the shoulder blades, opening up through the chest and the heart. And then slide all the way down onto your belly. Let's take Sphinx Pose first, bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders. Here, grab opposite elbows, press the hand palms down, open up the feet, maybe mat width, press into the tops of the feet, roll the shoulders back right here, like you're trying to drag your chest through your arms, lengthening up through the crown of the head right here, drawing your belly button to your spine, hooking your pubic bone under. Stay here, or maybe take seal pose. Spin the hands out to the corners of the mat, spread the fingers, and start to lift the elbows, keeping them soft and the shoulders drawing down away from the ears here, lengthening up through the crown of the head, and pressing into the tops of the feet here. And release. Bring the forehead down, walk the hands back. Big toes together to touch. Fingertips are now in line with your shoulders. Elbows are lifted here. Baby cobra. Exhale, let out all the air. As you inhale, start to find a little extension. So without using your arms, maybe the hand palms float and the elbows hug back. The back of the neck long, squeeze the shoulder blades together here. So working on connecting to those upper back muscles for the extension. And release. Open up the feet hip width or wider. Walk your hands down to frame the ribs here. Second set, lifted cobra, a little bit higher, but keep the bend in the elbows. Exhale, let out all the air. As you inhale, start to press up, lengthening up, drawing the shoulders down away from the ears right here. Watch they're not creeping up. Keep those elbows soft and working more into the back body than the arms. And release. Third set, yogi's choice, any supine extension here. So if you want to repeat something we just did, or work your upward facing dog, or maybe locust or flower bow. I like to take a bound baby cobra, interlacing my fingers or grabbing a towel or strap. Bring the feet back together. Exhale, let out all the air. Inhale, find that lift, that extension. And release, press back and take a child's pose. If closed leg child's pose feels okay, go for that. If it doesn't, then take whichever child's pose you took in the beginning. Your practice, so you get to choose what works for you. Take it back to tabletop and extend your left arm forward and your right leg back. Flex the foot and find that balancing tabletop right here. Inhale, reach, look past the fingers. Exhale, round and curl, knee to elbow. 2 more, inhale, reach. Exhale, hug it in, a little tighter, a little smaller. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, draw it in, hold here, take your hand, place it on the shin, draw the knee up to the chest, get a little smaller, a little tighter, and then reach and stretch back away. Take your left hand, place underneath your shoulder, spin the left foot off the mat, open up to the side, and find that knee down half moon again. Pull up through the underside body and glance back. Be sure you can see your foot in your peripheral vision. And again, staying here, taking that yogi's choice, maybe working for the bind. Bend the elbow, cactus the arm, like you're doing a lat pull. And then bend the knee like you're doing a hamstring curl. Press the knee back. So feel that entire back body opening up. This might be a great place to stay here. If you're going for the bind, do not lose that connection, meaning don't drop the knee or lose that engagement to go for the bind. So you're working on moving through the poses rather than around them. Release, extend the leg back out. Lower down the foot here, ground the outer edge. Reach your bicep to ear. Couple breaths here and that knee down. Side plank again, taking any variation you might have taken. So just holding the leg up or forward, or again, going for that bind here. And bring it back to tabletop. Again, maybe taking some cat-cows or dancing lions, releasing everything. Come back to tabletop, spread the fingers, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, tuck the toes, grip into the fingertips and press down into the finger pads, the undersides of the knuckles. Wrap those upper arm bones and triceps in and then press up away. Draw your belly button to your spine. Press down so much the knees start to lift off an inch or 2 to find a hovering tabletop. Turbo facing dog, keeping the knees bent. Draw your belly back to your thighs right here. Extending the arms, sits bones pressing back here. Take an inhale, lengthen the legs. As you exhale, melt down into your downward facing dog right here. Holding for a few breaths. Maybe making any adjustments. You want the weight shifted back, and even if the heels aren't touching, still reach those outer heels to the corners of the mat with that intention that they will touch. Letting the hips do the work here. And then bring the feet together to touch here. Reach and extend the right leg all the way up to the ceiling, and take a few breaths here to explore some movement through the right leg, the knee, the hip, the ankle, the toes, just how it feels good here. And then reach and extend the right leg all the way up. Lift your left heel, round and curl, knee to nose in a sasana. Press up between the shoulder blades, draw the heel into the seat. Reach and extend that right leg back. This time level off the hips here, drawing your left hip up and back, and reaching that back heel towards the back wall here. Round and curl again, look between the hands and kindly step the right foot all the way through. Root down right here, lift up the chest, the heart, ground into all four corners of that front foot, and then reach all the way up here, high crescent lunge here. Holding here for a few breaths, bending through the front knee and energetically pressing back through that back heel here, wrapping those outer hips in. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, reach forward about a third of the way, Ardha Anjaneyasana. Keep the chest, the heart lifted here. And then bring the hands forward down to frame the right foot. So if you have a block, great. If you don't, you can get creative at home. If you have any cookbooks or larger books there, placing your left hand underneath the block or on the mat here to take a lunge twist, lifting and extending the right arm. Let the weight be equally shared between the right foot and the left hand here. Scissor hugging through those outer hips here. Now you can stay here if you want a little more IT band or outer hip stretch. Spin to the outer blades of both feet, turning the toes to the side. Bicep to ear, lift up through the underside body right here. And then walk it all the way around to the left here to find a wide leg fold. Dial the toes slightly in, so you're in a little pigeon pose, and then soften the knees right here. Extend the arms forward, shift the hips back here, and find a wide leg downward dog, or trying to lengthen through the spine here and eliminate the roundness through the upper part of the back. Hammock is a great option where the hands open up wider than your shoulders. You let your chest and your ribs just open up, so releasing that containment here. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders, dial the fingers around, and begin to walk through your legs, reversing your wide leg dog. Now the weight shifts to the balls of the feet, and the crown of the head reaches towards your mat. Soften the knees here, lifting and spreading through the sits bones. Come back to the breath. Notice if it's changed at all from the beginning mindful breath you set at the beginning of class. These forward folds can be a little confrontational. They can change the breath, change the feeling of the body. So keeping that connection to the breath and that attention right there between your eyebrows at your prefrontal cortex or third eye allows you to stay in your body, prevents you from going in that fight or flight mode. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Take an inhale, lengthen up halfway. Take the hands on the hips. Exhale, come all the way up to stand right here. So allow a moment, maybe a couple breaths, to find that equilibrium, to allow for that energy shift. Spin the right toes forward, bend into the right knee to find your warrior two. Lining up your heel with that back arch, arms extend, a big open stance. Be sure you can see the front toes and the knees not going past them. 3 pumping warriors. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, hug muscle to bone. Exhale, bend back, warrior two. 2 more, inhale. And exhale, last one. Inhale, reach. And exhale, take it back here. Flip that front hand palm, reach forward, and then reverse your warrior. Slide your left hand down the leg, and then press the leg into the hand so you're lifting up to the arch in the inner thigh. Keeping this as a side stretch here. Take the arms back out to the side right here. Warrior two, and then cartwheel the hands down to frame the right foot right here. Spin up to the ball, that back foot, and then step that front foot in about 3 or 4 inches here. Slowly start to straighten that front leg. Parsvottanasana, intense forward fold. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold again. Blocks or books or whatever you have going on that you can use there at home are great options here to help bring the ground up a little closer. Don't worry about trying to straighten that front leg or jam the knee back, but focus on drawing that front hip up and back. Take an inhale, lengthen up here. Exhale, fold. Feel that isometric pull from your front heel all the way up to that glute here. Walk the blocks in a little closer, lift up the back heel if it wasn't already, and then flex the front hip here. So a little pelvic floor transition here, that's optional. Wrap those upper arm bones in, press up away from the mat, draw your belly button to your spine, so connect with the pelvic floor muscles here, and then lift that front heel. Maybe seen without dragging it if you can sweep it back and up, lowering it down to meet the other leg, finding your downward facing dog right here. Shift forward to high plank. Pause here, wrapping those upper arm bones in here. Hold here. So feel the front body pressing up to the back side body here. Full body integration. And then moving through your first vinyasa. I'll take the modified version, just dropping the knees. Shift the shoulders in front of the wrists. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend the elbows just halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, press up and through to lifted cobra or upward facing dog. Dropping those shoulders down. And then exhale, press back. Downward facing dog right here. Settle back in. Notice if this feels any different than the first one. Bring the feet back together to touch here. Sweep the left leg all the way up to the ceiling. Again, take a few breaths here to explore some movement on this side. You might need something a little different on this side, and that's okay here. Lift your right heel up and then round and curl knee to nose in Asasana. Press up between the shoulder blades, draw the heel into the seat. Tiny little package here. And then reach and extend all the way back, leveling off the hips, drawing your right hip up and back. Flex through that back foot, reaching the heel back. And round and curl again, look between the hands. Kindly step your left foot all the way through here. So knees right over the ankle, ground into all four corners of that front foot. Hug and wrap those inner thighs in towards each other. Take an inhale here, exhale, reach all the way up, high crescent lunge. Pausing here, connect back with the breath. Wrapping those outer hips in, energetically press through that back heel. Take an inhale here, exhale, reach forward, hinging forward a third of the way, Ardha Anjaneyasana. Keep the chest, the heart open, so a little bit of that cobra in the upper back here. Wrapping those upper arm bones in. Bring the hands down to frame the foot right here. Keep the chest, the heart open. And going for that lunge twist. If you use the block or prop on the first side, it's probably a good chance you're going to want it on this side. Reach and extend the left arm up. Level off through the hips. So the twist is coming from the spine and not the hips here. And then stay here if you took the variation for that outer hip. So as IT band spin to the outer blades of both feet, turning the toes, reaching your bicep to ear, pushing up and contracting through that right underside body. Spin it around. Walk it all the way over to the right and find your second set wide leg fold. Dial the toes slightly in here. Soften the knees. Take a towel or strap or scarf or whatever you have access to. I like to use a hand towel for my shoulder stretch. If you're tighter in your shoulders, you might want a full towel too as well. And then bring it back behind you, opening up the arms here and reach up and over for the shoulder stretch and wide leg fold. Again, softening the knees, shifting the weight to the balls of the feet and reaching the crown of your head towards your mat. So the idea with the strap here is that it's creating more space so that you can go for a deeper shoulder stretch and not feel so constricted here. Shoulders tend to be a tight area of the body for most of us, so we carry a lot of tension in there too. Take a couple more inhales and exhales. See if you can slow down the breath. You can smooth out any rough edges of it. The longer that we are able to stay in our bodies holding the poses, the more benefit we're going to get. It's okay to feel uncomfortable, because that's what's going to stimulate the growth and the change in our bodies, in our minds, our spirits here. You don't want to ever feel stuck. Release the arms, or the bind, or the towel, the strap, and then going for a separate leg bind here. So either Pasarita Padagusasana, taking your peace fingers and threading them on the inside of your big toes, or for a deeper variation, Padagusasana, sliding your hand palms to the outer edges of both feet. If none of those seem to feel like they work, just take whatever separate leg stretch you want to right here. So I'm going to go for the peace finger bind here. Inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold. I'm softening the elbows, drawing the shoulders down here, shifting the weight again to the balls of the feet here at the sits bones, lifted up right in line with the heels, trying to lengthen out my spine. So the more I try to straighten the legs or jam the knees back, the more tension I'm going to feel in the legs, which is going to not help me lengthen the spine here. And release, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Take an inhale, lengthen up halfway, hands on the hips. Exhale, come all the way up to stand here. Again, allow for a moment. I know we always want to fidget and shift and adjust our clothes or our hair here. Just allow for that moment to find that energy shift as you bring the head back over the heart. Spin the left toes forward, bend into the left knee here, finding your warrior two. So even opening up your stance. Ideally, your feet should be open as wide as your arms here, and lining your heel with your arch here so that it helps properly stack everything else. 3 pumping warriors. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms up, hug muscle to bone. Exhale, bend back, warrior two. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, bend, hold here. Flip that front hand palm, reach forward, and then reverse your warrior. Bicep to ear, hand slides down, keep bending into the front knee here. Take it back up to warrior two, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Spin up to the ball of that back foot, and then step that back foot in about 1/3 of the way and slowly start to straighten the front leg any amount. And blocks or props might be useful here, but not necessary. Start to draw your front hip all the way up and back. Whatever you do with that back heel is up to you. You can keep it lifted, turned out, or parallel. The idea here isn't about straightening the legs, but about squaring off the hips. So you don't want the feet crossed. You want to think railroad tracks and not a balance beam. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold. Feeling your left sits bone pulling up and back right here. Take an inhale, lengthen up halfway, walk the blocks of your hands a little closer to frame the front foot. So here's that pelvic floor transition again into the one-leg dog. Lift up that back heel and then flex the front foot here so the toes are lifting up and the ball of the foot. Wrap those upper arm bones in, press down, feel your belly button pulling up towards the spine, and maybe start to lift that front foot, holding right there between your hands or the blocks. And without dragging the heels, the best of your ability, reach and extend the leg all the way up and back. So this little exercise will help with those jump throughs, jump backs, bringing the leg up and through. Finding your downward facing dog here. Shift forward, high plank here, and then moving through your vinyasa, taking any necessary modifications or variations your body is telling you it needs. And back, meeting down, your downward facing dog here. Lift up the heels and start to take little baby steps to the front of the mat, right here. Connecting again with those pelvic floor muscles. And once you got to the front of the mat, heel toe out the feet, hip width distance, soften the knees here, and just take a forward fold here, maybe grabbing opposite elbows. For a deeper variation, you can grab opposite elbows behind the legs here. Connecting back with the breath, that mindful breathing, that ujjayi, pranayama, victorious breath, and then release the arms and slowly start to round up. 1 vertebra at a time. Let your head be the very last thing to come up, and once it's stacked, roll the shoulders up and back, bringing the hands there by your side. Here, finding Tadasana, mountain pose. Reach the arms up over your head right here, and allow your right hand to grab a hold of your left wrist. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, reach up and over to the right, shifting the hips over to the left, standing Ardha Chandrasana, side stretch. Come back up through center and switch. Left hand grabs hold of the right wrist. Take an inhale here. Exhale, side reach up and over to the left. Come back, center, and taking a back bend of your choice. You can keep the arms extended, cactus the arms, or taking a supported back bend, bringing the hands to the lower back with your fingertips facing up here, pressing to the bottom of the ribs. Draw the shoulders back, hug the elbows in. Take an inhale here, lift the chest, the heart. As you exhale, drawing the shoulder blades together, contracting through the upper back. The chin lifts, maybe the eye gaze starts to fall back. Once you found that sweet spot or that intelligent edge, tiny little sips of air here. And stack the spine up, hands on the hips, take an inhale here. Exhale, forward fold, catch a bind, maybe peace finger bind again, maybe Padahastasana, hand palm slide all the way underneath the feet so that the toes are wiggling on the wrist crease here. Take an inhale, lengthen up halfway. As you exhale, fold, allowing your belly to connect to the thighs, softening the elbows and releasing the crown of the head towards your mat here. Maybe shifting the weight slightly forward to keep those hip bones, sits bones stacked over the heels. And release. Heel toe the feet back together to touch here. Soften the knees, place your hands onto your shins. Take an inhale, press in your shins, lengthen up halfway. Let's take a vocal exhale as we fold. 2 more like that. Inhale, press up, lengthen up, Ardha. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Last one, inhale. Exhale, plant the hands and walk, step, or jump back to your chaturanga. Moving through your vinyasa, if you're jumping back, you are jumping right back to the chaturanga. Inhale, press up. And exhale, press back. Downward dog right here. Bring the feet together to touch. Sweep the right leg all the way up to the ceiling. And then round and curl. Knee to nose, look between the hands. Step the right foot all the way through. Spin that back foot out. 45, root down, rise up. Warrior 1 here. Take a moment to smooth out any rough edges of the breath here. Bend the elbows, cactus the arms here like you're doing a lat pull. Open up the chest, the heart, reach back, interlace the fingers, take a bind here, reaching the knuckles towards the back heel, opening up the chest, the heart. Take an inhale here as you exhale, fold forward, humble warrior. So you might want to heel toe that front foot out a little bit, drawing your back hip back to create the space so that you can hook your shoulder on the inside of the front knee here. Reaching the crown of the head. Now, if that's not happening, no worries, but see if you can make any small adjustments there, creating a little more space rather than trying to change the yoga. See if you can change your approach. A couple more breaths here, reaching the crown of the head to the mat with that intention that it will one day touch. Visualization, it does work. And then coming up halfway, open up the arms like airplane wings. Take your left hand, place it on the inside of the right foot. So option again to use the block. So it's really close here, awkward twist or warrior 1 twist. Keep grounding through the back edge, the outer edge of that back foot here. So a little different than our lunge twist. Keep hugging, scissor hugging your right inner thigh towards the midline. Transitioning into half moon here. So the right hand comes down about 8 to 10 inches or maybe on a block in front of the right foot. The left leg reaches back, flex the foot. So we already did this with the knee down. Same principles. You want that foot to be in the peripheral vision here. You're trying to stack the shoulders and hips. Even if the foot doesn't lift that high, that's fine. Really pull up through the underside body. So the block helps to bring the ground up a little closer. Maybe the arm extends here. Maybe the eye gaze stays down or forward or working your way up. The more that you activate through that leg that's lifted, the lighter you'll feel. Now don't overthink it. Bend into the front knee, reach that lifted leg back. We're stepping it back to warrior 2 here. So connect back into the breath, settle in here. We've been here before. This time reach forward, reverse your warrior, but start to straighten the front leg. Press into the ball of that front foot and reach the arm back. So think like a reverse triangle here. Stack the spine back up to stand, hip bones facing towards the side here, and take it in to your straight leg triangle. Reach that front arm forward and pull the back hip back, trying to lengthen out through the side body. When you can't reach anymore, tilt. Stacking the shoulders and the hips. Eye gaze can be up if it feels okay on the neck, or down or forward here. Keep lifting up through the underside body. If you want to turn up that intensity dial, Utthita Trikonasana, bicep to ear, or maybe the core variation, lifting up higher, taking both biceps to ear. Again, try to lengthen from the armpit to the hip. Smooth out the wrinkles in your shirt through that underside body. Take it back up to stand here. Hands on the hips right here. Dial the toes in. Take an inhale, reach the arms up over your head here. Exhale, fold forward, wide leg fold right here. Center your left hand, or maybe again under a block right here, and then place the right hand on the hip. Wide leg twist. Roll that right shoulder up and back. Keep pulling up through your left hip. This is always a great place to stay right here. You're trying to level off the hips so the twist comes from the spine. If you're feeling okay, maybe extending the arm here. Next variation is working towards a half bind. Keep pulling up through that left hip. And final variation, if accessible, if it feels okay, is going for that double bind, grabbing hold of the outer edge of your right foot. Bend the elbow, lengthen the spine here. And then release, take the hands underneath the shoulders, inhale, lengthen up here.
Exhale, fold. Spin your back foot out, bend into the knee, and finding Skandasana, side runner's lunge here. So in this variation, I want you to keep your heel down here. You can flex that front foot if it feels okay, or stay lifted. Blocks can be great additions underneath the hands or underneath the seat here. Watching the knees not going past the toes. So we're protecting the knee joint here in this variation. That's why it's important to keep the heel down here. And if you're super hypermobile, flexible, you're going to want to stay actually more up here so that you can work that hugging in and wrapping in. Here for a few breaths, maybe a variation, side stretch here, or working towards a bind. It's a couple options, and if you're looking and going, oh no, that's not going to happen, don't worry. Yoga is like a buffet. Take what you want, take what you need, take what you like. If it doesn't work for you, put it back. There's always somewhere to go, but it's perfectly fine to always go right back to where you came from. Stay low, walk it through center, and all the way up to the front here. Heel toe out that front foot to the edge of the mat. Spin up to the ball of the back foot, and then softly lower down the back knee, finding your low lizard lunge right here. Blocks or props can be underneath the forearms, the elbows here. The knees right over the ankle, and to open up the hip, you can roll to the outer blade of the foot right here. So here for a few breaths. Close your eyes, connect back in with the breath. With every exhale, ask yourself, what can I soften or release? If any arm balances are in your practice, Ekapada Vinyasa, now 2 scissors, maybe forearm stand or funky forearm, go for it. This is your time to stay or play, safely, of course, if you are practicing at home. Try not to try anything brand new. And you can either stay here, working towards a quad and hip flexor stretch, come up onto the hands, ground that front big toe, keep your left hand underneath your shoulder and reach the right arm back. This is a great place to kind of stay and hold, feeling that stretch to the front hip flexor there, or start to bend the knee. Don't just grab the foot here. Keep the hips melting forward and see if you can bring the heel towards the hand, just like in the beginning when we took that side bow there. 2, if the foot comes to the hand, great, but don't just grab it or lift the hips, grab it and come back here. 2, we're again working through the poses, building up that strength, that stamina, and that flexibility. Release, heel toe, front foot back to the center, tuck the toes, shift the hips back, half splits, full splits, half reclining thunderbolt. Whatever feels good here, holding for a few breaths, tucking the back toes if you're in your half or full splits to wrap those outer hips in, and flexing through the front foot to activate the outer part of that front leg. Shift back forward, right side lunge, hands frame the foot, lift up that back knee, sweep the right leg up and back, one leg dog, and then moving through your vinyasa. You have the option to take any variations or maybe one leg vinyasa. Connect breath with movement here, downward dog here, and then walk, jump, or float to the front of the mat. Bring the feet together to touch, soften the knees, and either roll up one vertebrae at a time or reverse swan dive all the way up to stand right here. Reach the arms forward, bend the knees, sweep the arms up, Utkatasana, chair pose here. Knitting the front ribs in, shift the weight to the heels, draw the hips back, keep the chest, the heart open. Lift and spread all 10 toes, grounding them down, then taking half chair, Ardha Utkatasana, flat back, knees stay over the ankles here. Now a little challenge, if you want to turn up that intensity dial, maybe find a floating chair, lifting up the heels here. If crow is in your practice, going for a variation or maybe just working the balance here. Finding your forward fold. If you're taking crow, take your time right here. Soften the knees, take an inhale, lengthen up halfway. Exhale, fold. Let's do one more time. Inhale, lengthen up, walk, jump, or float it back through your vinyasa. All right. Home stretch flow here. You've got it. You are doing great. Remind yourself that. Feet together to touch. Sweep the left leg up. Round and curl, knee to nose. Step it all the way through. Spin that back foot out 45. Root down, rise up. Warrior 1 here. Again, allowing a moment. Smooth out any rough edges of the breath here. Grounding through the outer edge of that back foot and bending into the front knee. Bend the elbows, cactus the arms here. Open up the chest, the heart. And then reach back. Interlace the fingers, take your bind, open up the chest, the heart here. Fold forward, humble warrior. So if you feel the shoulders almost there, you might need to heel toe that front foot over to the left a little bit, then draw your right hip back. Create that space there. So sometimes we get so focused on trying to change the yoga to fit our bodies when we really just need to change our approach. When we're trying to change the yoga, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. It's never gonna work. If we can smooth out, if we can create some space or some softening, we can get a little deeper and work within what our body's limits are. And that's gonna change every time. Open up the chest, the heart, come up halfway, reach the arms out like airplane wings, and then bring the right hand down on the inside of the left foot or maybe on a block here. It's really close to the foot and you're grounding into the inner edge, sweeping your left arm up. Awkward twist or warrior one twist here. Right, transition into half moon, so left hand comes down or maybe on a block 8 to 10 inches in front of that front foot. Hand on the hip to start as you extend the back leg up. Flex the foot here. Ooh. See, we are all normal, we are all real, we're not perfect here. Flex the foot, reach the arm extended, taking any variations that you did on the other side here. That's the beauty of the practice. There is no perfection. Every time we step on the mat, it's gonna be a different experience. We're always changing, so honoring that. Something that might not have worked yesterday might work today. And on the opposite, you gotta just go with the flow. Bend that front knee, reach back, don't overthink it, take a giant step back, cartwheel the arms open, warrior two. Reach that front arm forward and then reverse your warrior, this time straightening the front leg, reaching and extending the left arm back. Press into the ball of the front foot like you're stepping onto a gas pedal here. Stack the spine up here, up to the side and moving into straight leg, triangle trikonasana. Reach and extend the left arm forward and then draw the right hip back, trying to lengthen out through that underside body here. When you can't reach anymore, just tilt. Be sure you're not pressing directly onto the knee joint or above or below. If you've ever heard that analogy, think between your two panes of glass right here. So the shoulders are stacked, the hips are squaring off to the side here. And if you took that extended triangle variation on the other side, bicep to ear, or maybe the core variation, both biceps to ear, lifting up, drawing your left hip back, chin away from the chest here. Back of the skull presses back. Take it back up to stand right here. Hands on the hips, dial the toes to face slightly in. Reach the arms up overhead. Take an inhale here. Exhale, wide leg forward fold. We're gonna get to that twist in just a second, but before, this is a yogi's choice here in this wide leg fold for about 8 to 10 breaths here. So this is your time if you play with headstands or any other inversions or want to take another separate leg stretch that we already did. Again, we're gonna go for that twist, so don't worry about it, I gotcha. Maybe another bind if the shoulders feel tight or separate leg stretch here. Softening through the knees, lifting and spreading through the sits bones. And if you are inverted, start to think about making your way back to your wide leg fold. And bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, centering your right hand, or maybe it comes underneath the block right here. So you want the hips, right, half to sits bones over the heels here, flat back here. Take your left hand on your hip, roll the shoulder back, start to spin open right here, keeping the hips level. Maybe the arm extends up if you took that variation, or reaches behind for that half bind here. Drawing the shoulder back here, and if you went for that double bind, right hand grabs hold of the outside of the left leg, soften the elbow, keep pulling your right hip back, and finding that twist here. Start to unwind, place the hands underneath the shoulders, take an inhale, lengthen up here. Exhale, fold, spin that back foot out, bend into the knee here, keeping the heel down, to walk the hands back, maybe flexing the foot, and finding that side runner's lunge or skandasana. Again, the block or whatever you are using here might be a great support underneath the seat or underneath the forearms or elbows here. Watching the knees not going past the toes, and then if you took that side stretch or working towards that bind, repeating whatever variation you did here. And start to release, stay low, walk it all the way around to the front, spin up to the ball of the back foot, heel toe out, your left foot to the edge of the mat, spinning out the toes and softly lower back, that back knee, maybe coming down to the forearms, the elbows, finding your low lizard lunge right here. Close your eyes, check back in. Just kind of notice how you're feeling. If you got the heart rate up a little bit, slow down the breathing. Draw everything back inward. With every exhale, asking yourself, what can I soften or release here? Stay or play if you took any variations or balances on the other side. And if you're going for that quad stretch or hip flexor stretch, bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Right hand centers underneath the right shoulder. Reach the left arm back here. Keep the hips melting forward. And again, this might be enough. Ground into the left big toes. Or start to bend that back knee, bringing the foot towards the hand here. Don't lift the hips or just grab the foot. You're better off just holding, not even taking that bind, but working that deep connection and that strengthening through the back body right here. And release. Heel toe that front foot to the center of the mat here. Tuck the back toes. Shift the hips back. Half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. Full splits here. Squaring off the hips or half reclining thunderbolt. Open up the chest, the heart here. Take an inhale here. Exhale. Hinge forward. Keep wrapping those outer hips in. So that's what the flex of that back foot that is going to do, and the flex of the front foot is going to help to keep those hips wrapping in and squared off here. Shift back forward. Find your left side lunge. Lift up the back leg right here. Sweep the leg all the way up and back. Move through your vinyasa. If you took one leg on the first side, finishing off on this side as well. Chaturanga, inhale, up and through. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog here. Walk your hands back to the back of the mat right here. And slowly round up one vertebra at a time right here. Let's take eagle here. So reach the arms up over your head. And then eagle wrap. Right arm underneath the left right here. If the wrapping isn't working, take a bear hug too as well. Now bend into the knees. Keep your left knee bent. Lift the right knee up. Cross it all the way. So a couple options. You can keep the toes down if balance is just not working today as well. Or if you want to go for that double bind, you really have to bend into the standing leg. Lift the elbows up, shoulders stay over the hips here. So think as though that you're up against a wall. You're at home, you could probably actually even go step up against your wall right now. Hands away from the face. The second option is the rounding down. You drop the hips and bring your elbows, I'll bring my toes down for this one, and drop the hips and bring the elbows to the knees right here. Those are the two variations. Know that this variation might bring the heart rate up a little bit. Unwrap here, lift the knee up to tabletop, bring the hands on the hips, extend the leg forward, flex the feet, reach the arms up over your head, hold here for a few breaths. Grounding into all four corners of that standing leg. And release, bend the knees, roll the shoulders up and back. Other side, reach the arms overhead. Eagle wrap, left arm underneath the right. Bend into the knees, deep bend in that standing right leg. Lift the left knee up, crossing over. So again, this is a great place to stay if balance isn't working. You're squeezing the legs together. Here, lifting up through the heart, the chest, and lengthen up to the crown of the head. Or going to that double bind, you have to bend into that standing leg. Keep the shoulders pulling back. If you're going for that rounding, drop the hips down all the way to bring the elbows to the knees here. Stack the spine all the way up. Unwrap the legs, draw the legs to tabletop, reach the arms out to the side, place the hands on the hips. Flex the foot, reach forward, pull up through that standing leg, and then reach the arms up here, hold here for 3, 2, 1. Release, roll the shoulders up and back, take an inhale. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Walk it back out, downward dog here, maybe one last. Final vinyasa. Make it your best, your most mindful. Doesn't have to be your strongest. Doesn't have to be some crazy variation. Just noticing. Take it back. Downward facing dog, lift the heels, bring the feet together, bend the knees, look out past the mat, walk, jump, float all the way through, extend the legs forward here, flex the feet, move the fleshy part away from the hips and the sits bones right here. Reach the arms up overhead, take an inhale here, exhale, hinge forward. Paschimottanasana. So you can use your towel or your strap here to help with this forward fold stretch. You can bend the knees, open up the chest, the heart. You're trying to get your belly down before your chest, your legs here. Drawing through, take an inhale here, exhale, hinge. And then bring the feet together, point the toes, press on the tops of the feet, maybe take a little stretch there through the arches. Stack the spine, arms forward, take an inhale here. As you exhale, slowly lower all the way down onto your back. One vertebra at a time right here. So once you've laid all the way down, bend the knees, open up the knees, finding Supta Baddha Konasana right here. So you're more than welcome to just stay here, maybe the hands on the inner thighs or your right hand heart center, your left hand on your belly. If you want a little bit of core work here, at the end of class here, interlace your hands behind your head, right at the base of your skull, wide elbows here, taking 20 crunches. So it's on our system, so you count yourself what works for you. Here, keep that nice neutral pelvis, remembering to breathe. Shoulders down, elbows wide here. Exhaling on the up here. Focus right here on that contraction through the abs. Nice neutral pelvis with the hip bones, right in line with the pubic bone here. And if you want some obliques, taking some crisscross or bicycle, up and over, maybe 20 here. It's 10 on each side, not 20 on each side here. Again, this is all optional. You can stay right in that Supta Baddha Konasana, closing your eyes, connecting back with the breath here. And when you're finished, again, come back to that Supta Baddha Konasana. Slowly start to close your legs. Hug the knees into the chest. Keep the right knee hugging in and extend the left leg long. Interlace your fingers to the webbing below the knee. Take a big inhale. Hug in your thigh to your chest here. And then find your belly twist. The knee comes over to the side. The hand gently glides it. Extending your right arm out to the side here. So you have a couple options here. You can eagle wrap the legs, like we did standing, to feel a little more of an outer hip stretch. You can take a dancing Shiva variation here, maybe using a towel or strap, since we didn't do that standing, if you want a little more IT Bana. Or just keeping the knee bent, maybe cactusing the arm here if you feel the shoulder is tensing up. A couple options to play with. And release, come back center, extend the leg long. Hug your left knee into your chest, interlace your fingers to the webbing below the knee. Take an inhale, drawing in, exhale, hold. And then gently guiding the knee over to the right now, extending the left arm here, and taking whichever leg variation, maybe that eagle wrap, that dancing Shiva, maybe bending the elbow here. Trying to draw the hip away. So in this belly twist, there's little options you can play with. One that's going to feel more for the outer hips, one that's going to feel more for the shoulder. So if the knee's down and then you're maybe propping something underneath the shoulder, that'll feel a little more for shoulder. If you start with the shoulder down and work the knee down, that's going to be a little more for the outer hips and the glutes. Come back center. Hug both knees into your chest right here. Taking happy baby, grabbing the outer edges of the feet here. Flex the feet, keep the hips down here. To really anchor through the sacrum. Option to take a reclining straddle, splits, peace finger bind. Maybe start with one leg at a time or both legs. In this reclining position, the straddle is a little more accessible. We have gravity helping us here. We can release the shoulders. We don't have to worry about any tension in the hips. And then release wherever you're at. Bring the legs back up together, facing towards the ceiling. Heels right over the sits bones here. Engage to the quads, hands by the side. Just close your eyes here. So here in this legs up an imaginary wall. If plow is in your practice, you can take it. If shoulder stand, you want to go to plow first. So don't just try to go up to the shoulder stand. The shoulder stand, you want the hips over the shoulders. So if you're not able to get into plow, probably should be not doing a shoulder stand at this point. The hips have to go all the way up and over, then the elbows bend here. So you want those hips over the shoulders, head stays right where it is, and the legs lift. So the heels are over the hips and the hips are over the shoulders here. And bringing the legs back over, plow, best part coming up, hands release here, and then you slowly roll down. If you're in that legs up imaginary wall, just stay right there. We're all meeting together right here. And then slowly start to bend the knees, placing the feet flat, open up hip width here, taking one set of bridge or wheel. So we didn't do a ton of back bend, so be gentle if you're going right to wheel. But for bridge, walk the heels in so that the fingertips gently graze them. You want hips to knee to heel alignment, those heels in line with the sits bones. Think like you're hugging an imaginary block between the inner thighs, or maybe do. Grounded to all four corners of both feet, lifting the hips up. Reaching the knees forward, feeling that lengthening through the hip flexors in the front of the thighs, and maybe starting to wiggle the shoulder blades together, interlace the fingers, press into the big toes and the balls of the feet here. Chin lifted up away from the chest. And then slowly start to release down. Hug your knees into your chest right here. Lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. Make fists. Close the toes, tense everything up. Take a big, deep inhale, tighten into a very small ball. And as you exhale, release down into your final Shavasana. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Naturally open up the legs, unless there's any other poses that you feel like you are needing right now. Before your Shavasana, feel free to take them. You have the option to place the hand palms down if you are feeling you're needing a little more grounding or centering or stability, like we started in class in Child's Pose, or opening up the hands palm up the ceiling to keep opening through the chest, the heart, with the hand palms facing up. Symbolizes that ability to release whatever has come up that's no longer serving your greater good, or creating that space to bring in whatever the universe has for you, maybe coming back to that intention you set at the beginning of your practice. As you soften your eyelids and release any tension between the eyebrows, coming back to that natural breath, unhinging your jaw and releasing your tongue from the roof of your mouth here. Allowing yourself just to find that release, to find that surrender here. Just let yourself be. And if it resonates with you, and only if it resonates with you, placing your right hand at your heart center and your left hand on your belly here. Just allow a moment to feel that connection. Feel the rise and fall of your breath, your belly with every inhale and exhale. Reminding yourself of that power of your breath, the ability, the control it has to help you get to this spot whenever you need to. And feeling your heartbeat underneath the top hand, reminding yourself of that love, that light, that life that fills you up, and maybe sending it out there in the universe to somebody who could use it, who cannot be with you right now. And taking a moment to thank yourself for showing up, for making it to your mat. Reminding yourself that you are more than enough and you are doing an amazing job right now, even if it feels like nothing is happening right. That you have that ability to change that perspective, to change how you are reacting to everything going around about you. So taking that time for yourself to recharge your battery right now is so important in order to be that best version of yourself. That best friend, that best parent, child, employee, employer, taking that time to refill your cup. Slowly start to draw your knees into your chest right here, gently rocking side to side till you make your way over to whatever side, your favorite side, in a fetal position right here. And just pausing here. Again, allowing anything that is no longer serving you to find that release, to leave it here on your mat. So the next time you come, it'll be a whole new practice, a whole new approach. Slowly press yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position, keeping your eyes closed, and bringing your hands to heart center right here. Taking your hands up to your third eye. May your thoughts remain clear, steady, and present. Hands to your lips. May your words always be kind and compassionate. Hands to your heart center. May your heart remain open and honest, and know that the answer always lies within you. Be the change you wish to see. The light within me honors and salutes that same beautiful bright light in all of you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.